By the time you reach week 13, the intense exhaustion and nausea of the first trimester usually begin to fade. You are entering the second trimester, a window of pregnancy that stretches all the way to week 27. Because your energy returns and your belly often feels perfectly still, it is easy to assume the developing baby is simply resting and waiting to grow larger. The reality inside the womb is entirely different. Long before you feel that very first kick, your body is hosting a massive, explosive phase of biological development. Hidden inside the amniotic fluid, the tiny fetus is already drifting and shifting its weight in slow, fluid motions. This silent period of hidden activity is essential. It is the biological foundation required to take a passive anatomical structure and build it into an active, sensing human being. The period between weeks 13 and 16 acts as a critical scaffolding phase. The baby's major organs are fully formed, but they now undergo rapid, intense structural maturation. This animated diagram illustrates how the fetal skeleton begins to harden. The soft cartilage is actively replaced by dense, rigid bone tissue, creating a strong framework for the body. While the skeleton fortifies itself, the baby's facial features are simultaneously taking shape, becoming sharper and more structurally defined over the specific 4-week window. Moving into weeks 17 through 20, the biological priority shifts. The physical scaffolding is in place, and the body's resources turn to neurological wiring. This data visualization tracks a massive surge in brain development. As indicated by the steep exponential curve, millions of new neural synapses are forming every single minute during this stage. The immediate biological result of this intense wiring is that the auditory system comes online. For the first time, the fetus can detect sounds originating from outside the mother's body. This rapid neurological development installs the essential hardware the baby needs. It creates the pathways required to eventually process, understand, and interact with the outside world. By weeks 21 to 24, the newly connected brain and hardened skeleton work together to initiate a phase of physical testing. The developing baby begins to push its physical limits, executing strong, deliberate kicks and stretching its limbs outward against the amniotic sac. This is the moment medical professionals call quickening. It is the exact point where a mother's perception catches up to the biological reality, and she can finally feel the movements that have been happening all along. But there is also invisible testing happening deeper inside. The baby's lungs begin practicing for life in the open air, rhythmically inhaling and exhaling the surrounding amniotic fluid. As the timeline reaches weeks 25 through 27, the second trimester hits its biological peak. The fetus now possesses true sensory awareness. If a bright light shines against the mother's belly, the baby perceives the glow, often flinching and turning away from the sudden illumination. By the close of week 27, this developmental escalation has built a highly complex, responsive organism capable of reacting to external stimuli in real time. However, this ideal developmental timeline requires specific conditions to succeed. The complex internal growth we've explored is highly vulnerable to external disruptions. This illustration contrasts a thriving environment with one that is structurally fragmented. Maternal factors like poor nutrition, high stress, or untreated medical conditions can severely stall both the physical scaffolding and the delicate neural wiring phases. This makes the baby's activity level incredibly important. A noticeable reduction in fetal movement acts as a critical, measurable warning signal that the internal developmental engine has unexpectedly slowed down. Protecting this growth requires active observation. Doctors emphasize the medical necessity of formally tracking the baby's kicks and movements once you pass the 20-week mark. Maintaining the optimal environment also means attending regular ultrasound checkups and consuming an iron-rich diet to physically fuel this period of exponential growth. By understanding the immense hidden activity of the second trimester, parents are empowered to protect it. You are safeguarding the biological bridge that turns unseen microscopic growth into a tangible, moving human connection.